Back to the airline sector now. Stocks like Delta, AMR, UAL have more than doubled in U.S. trading since March. They are flying high as the travel slump eases. Luggage fees, early check-in fees, fees for peanuts and soda. It's all been great for the airlines, but irritating for passengers. Bloomberg's Mary Jane Krajur wrote the story. Let's bring her in now with more detail from our Atlanta bureau. Great to see you.
Thank you. Likewise.
So how much are the airlines actually making off of us by making us pay to check our bags? At one point, U.S. Airways was even charging for a cup of water during a flight.
Well, they're making hundreds of millions of dollars. $15 for the first bag, $25, $30 for the second bag. It adds up. It's about $600 million of revenue for the whole industry per quarter.
Now that passengers have put up with these fees for a couple years, are we stuck with them regardless of an overall improvement in the industry?
Almost certainly. The airlines realize that it's revenue on the table and that if they don't charge it, their competitors will. Across the board, the fees have been adopted. It's pretty much the industry norm now, and it's very unlikely that it would ever go away.
Mary Jane, let me ask you, I noticed that buying a ticket to my hometown of Columbus, Ohio costs the same now as it did 20 years ago when I was in high school. I mean, it doesn't seem like the fares for air travel have moved really at all.
Well, that's the entire problem for the industry. We spoke to an investor who is in his 60s, and he's flown American Airlines. He lives in Dallas. He's flown American Airlines for decades, and he said it's literally cheaper now to fly to New York than it was when he first began flying 3-4 decades ago. And, the airlines continue to add capacity year in, year out. They take delivery of new jets, and all that capacity drags down ticket prices. You've got to match a competitor. If someone is $20, $30, $40 cheaper than you, you've got to match it. So the airlines have had a real tough time having pricing pressure, and that brings it back to the crook of the problem, especially when demand falls off a cliff like it did last fall.
So, Matt and Mary Jane, when I fly back to my hometown of Agora Hills, California, what should I expect, especially coming into the holiday season? Will that be a reason to boost fares?
They're going to try. The airlines know that leisure demand held up very well over the summer. That's part of what's putting them back on this path. They're still losing billions of dollars this year as a group. But, yeah, absolutely. The airlines know that November, December, people want to go home, see grandma, see mom and dad, see siblings, and that's one of the few chances that they have to really have some firmness in prices. So if you find a deal, buy it now.
Okay, so the risk of bankruptcy completely off the table for now?
Very much off the table. I don't know that I'd say completely, but it's
in this
much
country,
diminished.
right? In this country, because we were just talking about JAL.
Right, probably. For the U.S. carriers, almost certainly off the table. It was really a concern, a significant concern just a couple of months ago when some of them were running a little bit low on cash. We saw how bad demand trends had been for several months back to back. Traffic is still down, but just in the last couple of weeks, Delta and American, most notably, have each raised billions of dollars through debt offerings. American did a forward sale of frequent flyer miles to its credit card partner, and so the airlines are in much better shape than they were just a couple of months ago.
All right, Mary Jane, thanks very much for joining us.